How you doing today? Sorry for the lighting. I didn't feel like really turning on no bright lights right now, even to make the video. But today I want to talk more about my awakening. Uh-oh, let me make sure that's not on. Just a second, 1 second here. Oh yeah, turn that off. All right, I'm back. Today I want to talk about my awakening process, the things that I had to go through to get here. And what I didn't realize, first of all, what I didn't realize how noisy everything was, how noisy the world was when I first started. When I first started, I got out of debt. And then once I got out of debt, that quieted down a lot of the noise that I used to believe that was normal. Just a lot. There's just a lot of noise, right? Everything is energy. I now realize everything is energy, and how much energy I was using to quiet, how much energy I was using to just function in that world. I thought it was normal. I thought all that stuff was normal. Once I got out of that, now I was able to take that same energy and then work on my inner self. Okay. Once I freed my physical self, I was able to take all that energy I was wasting out there and work on my inner self. And my inner self, it it was more just like relationships, close relationships. Why? Just you know, and it had to come in. You know how they say God gives you only what you can handle? Well, that's true. That is very true. God only gives you what you can handle. So he would give me a piece at a time. So he started me with a girlfriend who was a narcissist, who is a narcissist, a very bad one. That introduced me to narcissistic people and that they exist. That is true. Now, I don't look at people like, oh, he or she's crazy for staying with that person, because you don't know that there's a psychological piece in it. I didn't realize that until I was in it, until I had a person treating me like that, if not worse, right? That prepared me for the closest person in my life, which was my sister, my ex-sister. She was my sister and my mother, actually, but my sister was the worst one. My mother was more like a passive type of narcissist, if there's such a one that exists, right? If there's such a name that exists. But my sister was she was just like the ex, but worse, because she was my sister, but I wasn't, involved with her romantically. It's kind of you, but she was the closest person in my life. And I needed every bit of my energy to remove her, my mother, break all the family stuff. You can't do that too. You shouldn't do that. All that stuff you hear when you're in it. When I was in it, people, oh man, that's your mom. One day she's not going to be here. No, then she should have thought about that. See, people, when I hear people say that, I don't feel bad about, no, I'd say, then she should have thought about that when she did it, because I didn't do that to her or none of them. The loss is them. They lose. You understand? Now that I found myself, and I have 100% peace. And when they say, when you awaken, everything becomes obvious. It's so true. It's so true. It's like, say like you're with somebody, and out of the blue, they physically hit you, right? And you guys are in love and they physically hit you. It's with them physically hitting you, they just showed you, obviously, that they are not the person for you. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter why they did it. It doesn't matter. They just, but since feelings and emotions like mine tied with family, blood, you think all that has anything to do with anything, but it doesn't. If they're treating you bad, they're treating you bad. Once I broke through that barrier of that fakeness right there, I realized time has nothing to do with love at all. It doesn't have anything to do with love. I now understand that when people use that, when people use the word love, everybody has their own definition of it. Everything is so obvious to me today. When anybody uses any word, but we're going to stick with the word love, you don't know their definition of love. Say, let me give you an example. And here's another obvious example. Say, like you are a person that grew up with two parents, a house full of love, no problems ever. Your mom and dad, they showed love and respect to each other, never disrespected each other in front of you guys ever, and behind your back, nothing. And you knew they wasn't faking. Right there, from especially 0 to 7, you grew up with a certain kind of love. Your version of love, when you take that out in the world, is not the same as everybody else's version of love. So today, I would ask simple questions like this. Say, like I meet somebody and I say, "Hey, how's your relationship with your parents?" And now I understand the importance of that. If they talk about their parents like a dog and talk to them like they ain't nothing, automatically I obviously know they don't have the same. Their definition of love is not going to be the same as mine. That's automatic. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't. That age from 0 to 7 is crucial. Oh, so crucial. I thank God, my mother, everybody. Even though I don't even though she's my ex-mother, she didn't start that until I was an adult. When I was a child, it was nothing but love, nothing but love. That's why I had to have every bit of my energy to understand what was going to happen to me when I was an adult with my mother. She created that environment for me of love, no problems, nothing. So I took that love out into the world and tried to start relationships with it. There's the answer to all my problems in my relationships. I didn't, every woman I was with, I didn't define their version of love compared to mine. I didn't do that. Because what? I probably let sex get interfered, jumping, you start having sex before love and all this other stuff. It starts confusing shit. To get here, especially as a man, you're going to have to be very strong because you're going to have to stop doing things that you think you were supposed to do as a man. You're going to have to stop all that because you're going to need that energy to reach this awakening state. You're going to need that energy. Like if you just stopped having sex, you think the energy, where do you think that energy goes? It just doesn't go away. But you have to be strong to be able to do that. And let me explain to you. When you I haven't done anything for since the last narc, and I left her in 2023. Nothing. All of this is planned by the higher self. All of it's planned that way. That energy was needed for me to wake up. Now that I control it, now that I control it instead of it controlling me, women can tell the energy because they know I don't have that hungry look. Like, think about it. As a man, you don't really think about this. So I'm going to explain it to you. Women, when they grow up, they probably get looked at men starting at a very young age. Very young age, right? Just common sense. It probably just happens. And you come along and you're just given that same look like every other man does, probably their whole entire life. But you as a man, you don't know that because you got one objective. So you're only looking at one thing. Well, now that I control it, I don't walk around with that hungry look and all that stuff anymore. I don't do that. That's a type of energy. People don't really understand how energy works, but it's true. You don't, I don't give off that energy to women. I don't do that. I don't do any of that. And it's not that I'm trying either. I just don't, because I'm not. That's an energy. If you really are not hungry or all this other stuff, then you don't give off that energy. It's true. Women feel it. They know it. It's not a trick. It's all part of the awakening process. This this thing is no joke. Think about all the inner things that you have inside of yourself right now that you probably never tell nobody, never will tell anybody. You have to deal with all that, or else you can't come here. And the people, and I think about the people that have probably done people so wrong, just whether they know it or not know it, you have to face all of that. I know I did my few things. I'm glad. I thank God it wasn't a lot. It wasn't that bad or whatever. I just thank God because you you got to face it all. How you deal with it or own up to it or whatever, that's between you and God, but that's all part of it. And then once you get here, you will realize there's not many of us here. Okay. And then you have to figure out, this is the main reason why I created SMD in the sixth sense, because I understand that this is probably the only way I'm going to be able to reach like-minded people, awakened people. Uh, because once you awaken, things become obvious. And once they become obvious, they cannot become unobvious. This is why I believe they always say, don't interfere with politics, don't interfere with religion. Because once it becomes obvious, like, oh, okay. I remember I was always a person that my mom raised us in church, but I always questioned it. I was always questioning. My mom never liked me when I questioned. I'm like, why is our God white with long curly? Aren't we black? It just never made any sense to me. Oh, be quiet now! Don't you question it? Well, I'm not really questioning God, but now that everything's obvious, now I get it. I totally get it. Totally get it. Now when I see churches everywhere, I get it. Totally. Oh, who's got a big mega church? Oh, I get it. I get it. I totally get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. All the different, yeah, just but you just got to look at it, and it just becomes very, very obvious. It's a, don't get me wrong, it is a truly a blessing. I will thank God for the rest of my life for it. Uh, Going through that stuff, man, it was very, very. It takes a while to heal from it. But you have no choice. You know the purpose of it. Anything that happens like that, it has a purpose to it. But even through the process of me going through this, God is showing me He's right there with me. Everything I do, it's right there. It's obvious. Things that happen, that just remarkable things happen. I don't believe in luck. It's all called synchronicities. The the one thing I love about, I guess, one of my gifts is that I can prove it with math. right? That would also show that, you know, millions of people don't know, whatever, right? That it's a gift, period. With that gift, I also know this. If, say like this, say like you are in, say like you have a mortgage right now, right? And you open up your calculator, you put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit it equal, right? That large negative number on the calculator says you don't own anything, right? If you look at the calculator and you still believe you have equity, you still believe you own the house and all that other stuff, that means you will never be able to reach here where I'm trying to talk to you about. Why would I say that? If you know that no human on earth has ever broken the laws of mathematics, ever, never have, ever, and never will, and you choose not to believe what the calculator is showing you, there's no reason for you to leave there. Do you understand? You have to stay in that perspective. Because the only way for me to show you that this exists is math. Because inside the financial world, math is God. Do you understand? Anything to do with money, math is God. Just look at it that way. Never wrong, never question. Nobody can have an opinion about it. Nothing, nobody. And if you look at that negative number and you believe that's equity, that means you stay there. You can't come here. Do you understand? Because that's the only way I can show you that this place exists. It doesn't matter if millions of people believe they can buy houses with mortgages and all. None of that matters. What does the calculator say? That's just an example of different perspectives that are hard to change. But it's not about levels. I'm not at a higher level than you. None of that stuff. It's just perspectives. I'm just at a different perspective. That's all. This took me 10 years to get here, people. 10 years. Sure did. Sure did. 10 years. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. 10 years. 10 years of listening to my higher self, who's talking to you right now. You are talking to the higher version of myself. The version of me that has been talking to me all my life. Hey man, maybe you shouldn't do that. Here, let me give you guys the version of your higher version of yourself talking to you. Anytime you're about to do something wrong, break the law, do somebody dirty, it's that one voice that says, hey man, maybe you shouldn't do that. You know, if you get caught, man, you're gonna go to jail for that. Maybe you shouldn't. Or the person that gets a DWI, and then when they get arrested and they're in jail, they be like, man, I knew I should have just listened. I knew I was supposed to. Everybody, listen, I'm not telling you anything fancy. I'm telling you the truth. Everybody has that voice. I don't care who you are, in what language you speak. It talks and says, hey man, you know what? And then something happens, get caught, you're like, damn, you should have what? You should have what? Nobody ever answers that question. Man, everybody says it too. I should have what? Nobody stands there, I know. Where do they think that voice comes from? If you doing the crime and you hear a voice that tells you not to do it, and then you do it, it obviously wasn't your voice because you're doing the crime. Do you understand? Everything is just, and the reason why I'm even saying it like that, the shit is obvious. Everything is just obvious. And also, you think about the times that, as many of us have, done something that you would think about how many people went on ahead and got behind the wheel and got home safely. Think that was luck, or what do you think? How many chances do you? Because you know what most people do? They start to get comfortable. Oh man, I drive good. Okay, those are every time you get home safe. That people think, how do you think you got home safe? God, and then you get caught that one time out of the 15, 20 that you got home. Those are just examples. This this shit was hard, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was hard. Oh man, it was hard. Right now, I'm just wrapping up a couple things, man, and just this was a long. God can't tell you what you got to go through to get here. I'm just giving you guys a head start. First, I'm gonna give you, this is what I did. Okay. God gave us all the gift of choice. You understand? Everybody knows that. I said, God, I use my gift that you gave me to choose you. That's what I said. So that automatically means that he has everything he's going to do for me. He has free reign to do it. He don't even have to ask me because I use my choice to choose him. Just whenever this happen thing presents itself, I can't question it. I just got to do it. It usually feels right to do it. That's a dead giveaway if it feels right to do it. I just do it. I don't need to know the reason. It's a piece of something. I now understand that it's usually a piece of to something, something, something. That's how it usually works, right? And so now I don't, it's nothing that's luck. It's called synchronicities. And this is what I also never forget. I never forget the devil's never going to stop, ever. I no longer pretend he doesn't exist or he's not doing anything. Nope. I see him. I never pretend that I don't. The only time, and this is what I learned, I want most of you guys to just pay attention to this. Fears, false evidence appearing real psychologically, fears, okay? The only way the devil can get a hold of you is if you got a fear. If you fear something, do you fear losing a girlfriend, boyfriend, cousin, or friend, regular friend? Anything that you fear losing, he's going to use that person to do that. If you fear losing a position at a job because you feel like it's going to be used. It probably be used by the employer. Who knows? That's the only way he has access in your life. I promise you that. That's the only way. You let him in with fears. You know how long ago I learned the word fears? The SMD family can tell you, I've been saying this for years. Years, fears, fears. I had no idea where it comes from. Now I know exactly why I needed to know it. He uses that to get a hold of you. So if you remove all the fears outside and then inside, that's very reduced access to you. Everything is just so obvious, just so obvious. Years of, now you understand the whole family court system and man, do you guys know you don't even have to be part of any of that? None of that. You guys don't, oh man. I think about myself and wrapped all up in it. All of that was my fault. I was in the family court support, child support, judges dictating my finance because of me. It wasn't because of them. The women I was with, none of it was because of me, my choices. Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. Today I know who I am. Would anything like that happen again? No, ever. That would never happen again. None of that. You don't even, I don't even think like that anymore. The world is the same world. And for the people, the SMD family, let me explain this to you. It's the exact same world, just like in the debt matrix. Now you know you're outside the debt matrix and you see it. This is the same thing, but psychologically, I guess. You hear people, I'm very sensitive to negative energy now. Uh, I constantly hear people always talking negative about everything. Just and then they look around for people to join in about the negativity, and then they group up. It's like it's crazy when you just see it happening because they don't realize that you don't have to be none of that, any of that has to happen. None of it. I'm obviously I obviously been awakened at this particular time because everything aligns to it. Not, the number nine is uh is something because I started awakening up in 2016. If you add up those numbers, it equals nine. And now I'm fully awake in 2025, and that equals nine. If you take any number times 2025 and hit equal, if you add up the answer as separate digits, if you add, if say like the answer is 4,670, if you add up 4 plus 6 plus all those numbers will always equal nine, every single nine. So now it kind of tells me why this year, why now, because I've always known it, but I noticed toward the end of 2024 things were getting sped up, like things were happening really really fast to like finish up in that year to 2025, which totally makes sense now. It's almost like there was fog and it's clearing, but it clears in pieces, just like the clouds in the sky. You could see when it's starting to, oh man, you'll look up in the sky and you'll say, oh, it's starting, the sun's coming out. How do you know that? Because the clouds are clearing. It's like that. And then you realize that light is just as bright as the sun. You also realize that I've also realized that the physical world is the physical representation of the psychological. I mean, yes, the physical world is a physical representation of the psychological. That's exactly what it is. It was hard to even say that because it doesn't even make sense when you say it. That's why I had to really think about it. But it's true. There's a lot of seclusion, quiet time, what you're going to have to demand. You understand? You're going to have to demand it. That's the only way you're going to be able to get quiet time. You're going to have to demand it. What does demanded mean? You got to tell people no. They're not going to understand you. They're going to think, oh, who do you think you are? You think you're better? Nope. You got to ignore all that. Now I understand the people that I used to think were something was wrong with them if they was always strictly about time. Hey man, be on time, be on time. You're like, damn, what you tripping off of? Now I understand. I get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. They're not being assholes. No, they just know that nobody, only God can give you time. Nobody else can. So you're not going to let people you're not going to let people waste it, take it away because they don't care about their own time in their life. All that ceases. All of that stops. All of that stops. Uh, removing removing, especially if you got family members in your life that's causing negativity in your life, they're going to be the most difficult because of history. But let me tell you something. Love has nothing to do with time. Okay, I know that probably doesn't even make sense. It probably doesn't sound right, but it doesn't. Let me tell you an unexplainable thing that I have told very few. Okay, I, my mom raised me, and I didn't grow up with my dad, but I remember one year I went, but I still went to the family reunions, and that was in another state, right? And since I didn't really know my dad, I didn't really know my grandfather, his dad, right? I remember one year, and I saw him a couple times. Hey, how you doing? That kind of stuff. But you just show respect and stuff. But I remember one year when I was in my early 30s. Okay, I remember I went down that year to a family reunion. Okay, and I remember I was standing, just to the side talking to the people I knew, and then my grandfather had called me over. He was like, hey, boy, come over here, right? And I was like, hey, I know it's my grandpa. Hey, grandpa, but I don't know him. Okay. And I remember he was sitting down. I'll never forget this. He was sitting down and he called me over there and he hugged me. And I felt this unbelievable amount of love. No, I didn't know it was love. I didn't know it was love. But well, it felt like love because it was almost like I instantly loved him. So I do call it love, right? But I thought it was, I didn't understand that. I was like, what? How could that be? And I remember flying home. I didn't tell nobody because I didn't know what to tell anybody. And when he called me over and he just touched me, kind of hugged me by my waist and my leg and said, hey, boy, how you doing? And I felt this wave come through my body. And I stood there, just talking to him, blah, 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 until it was over. And I remember leaving there that year and just one of those unexplainable things. I was like, what? And then from that point on, he would like call me every week. Hey, how you doing? Boy, you gonna call me that? I was like, he is on it. And then I kind of put the two things together, the feeling and the two things. I said, okay, let me roll with this. Let me see what maybe he just wants to get to know me or something, that kind of. But it was an instant, unexplainable love, and it had nothing to do with time at all, none. But everybody that saw me with him or he's with me, they would thought he raised me from a child. It felt like that. What that was true love. The same frequency, true love. He treated me like that till the day he passed. He probably already knew who my grandfather was, probably awakened. You can't really talk to anybody about it. And he probably could see it in me because you can see it in other people. You can see the way I can tell an awakened person is eye contact. Now, I'm not gonna say they're awakened. Maybe they're on their way. They know something's wrong. They just really don't know. But when they hear the right person talking, they don't really know what they're doing, but they're really just focusing in because they're absorbing the information. So you're not thinking about interrupting this person that you're soaking in this information. But when you come across a person that doesn't understand it, they're looking around, thinking about their boyfriend, or they're not really listening to your story at all, at all. That's how you know. So when I catch a person doing that, I'll throw a little bit out, see if they take on to it, see if they want more information, or I just leave it alone because I'm not here to save nobody. That's clear. I think I'm here just for those that know something's wrong. I'm gonna just tell you now, it's not gonna be easy. And and I'm gonna give you guys a hint. Everybody's gonna be different because everybody has a different thing inside of them. Everybody has a different something. hidden, secret, lying, who knows? So obviously, everybody's journey is going to be different. Because you're going to have to turn around and look at it all. Sure do. Yeah. It doesn't matter if the other person made you do it or because that doesn't matter. None of that matters. Nobody can make you do anything. Nobody. You have to face all that to get here. All that. I'm just finishing up a major eviction of my life of people that don't belong there. Because if you ever truly say, God, I use my choice that you gave me to choose you, if you have to really mean it when you say it, because if you don't, you're just lying to yourself. I'm just telling you that right now. If you say those words, you better mean it. Because the first thing he did in my life was remove the people that cannot come. That's the first thing he did. Start removing those people. There is no way if there's people outside of my life causing me problems and frustration, there's no way I'm going to be able to work on the inside of myself. It just makes sense. And it counts on how those people are intertwined in your life. Man, I could just feel it when I'm talking about it to you because it's so fresh. Mine happened last month. As time goes by, it starts to heal. Once you clear that person out, you'll have a much clearer view of what they did and what they try to do to you. Then you got to face that. You be like, wow, like when I think about what my sister did, she tried to literally destroy me. Now that I can think about it without the initial anger of she's my sister and this and that, and now that time has gone by, I'm just like, wow. She tried to put me in jail. You know, it soaks in, you know? You have to deal with all that. To get to this perspective of life. Now I get it. You hear those stories of people awakening. Every person is going to be different. Every single person is going to be, their process is going to be different because it counts on the people outside their life and their internal stuff. Along my journey, God would give me breaks. Now I think about it. When he would get me through something, I would have a long break to recover. Because the amount of energy the brain has to use to do this is it's incredible. I didn't even, and luckily, thank God I had friends that truly loved me and believed in me. God set all that up for me too. Sure did. Thank God for that, man, because when I think about that was you would never believe, and a lot of people are in this situation right now with a relative, a brother or sister you don't, you almost don't want to know. What you know, you always question, would my brother or sister do that to me? All you got to do is put up a boundary and you will quickly find out. I promise you. All you have to do is tell them, no, you can't do that anymore. Stop doing that. You're going to find out. Like I did. I found out. Sure did. Because I was going through all those emotions. Would she do that to me? Would she really try to do that? Once the police knocked on the door, God said, there's your answer. You need any more questions? Any more questions? No more questions, God. Thank you. All right, now let me take care of the rest. And he did. He made all that stuff go away. Poof, gone. In a week. You hear me? 2 weeks total. Done. The only hard part about it when you first start is trusting God. That's going to be the hard part. That believing that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. Ain't that crazy? Mm. And it's really, and the voice in your mind when you do something, listen, this is how obvious it is, okay? Whatever you're doing, all you got to do is say this to yourself. Whatever I'm about to do you think God would do it? If it's something bad or against the law, you already know. I mean, you already know. And just so you just know it's not him. It's you or the devil or whatever you want to call it. Because the voice always says, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't do that. You know, if you get in the car drunk, you could probably hurt yourself and kill somebody else. Maybe you shouldn't. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it's true. You know what it is? There's nobody there like me to say, hey, stop. Who's that voice? That's you. That's why there's nobody there to tell me, hey, that's you. That's the higher version of you saying, hey, if you ever want to reach me, you need to stop doing that stuff. If you ever want to talk to me or be here, you need to stop doing all that. I remember those talking tos all my life. Sure is, especially when I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. Hmm. Even when, say like you're a person and you get cheated on. You're in a relationship, you get cheated on, and then there's a voice in the mind there's a voice that pops in and says, "Hey, man, you should go get him or her back. You should go do it." When you hear a voice that say, "Go use your body because you're mad at somebody, and you should go do the same as them," do you think that's God's voice when it says you should do with the same thing they did to you? That's not. That's all you got to say. So you don't get caught up. That'll tell you that you're caught up in emotions. That immediately tells you that. And if you decide, listen, and when you decide not to listen to that voice, just know what voice that you're listening to. There's only one other voice yeah, all that. You can believe it if you want to or not believe it. It's totally up to you. And listen, we don't make ourselves. Do you understand that? Humans don't make humans. I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of trust, a lot of quiet time, a lot of to yourself, because you can only hear in silence. silence around you physically and silence in your mind. There's two silences that you got to be silent. You got to be silent for you so you can hear clearly. Everything's so obvious, man. Just obvious. One thing I stopped doing now is saying, now what? Because there are very few of us here. Very few. Believe that. See, that's one of those things that when that question pops up in your mind, oh, now what am I supposed to do? That's not up to you. I didn't, and I'm telling you this because that's what I did for many, many years. When I started with SMD, coming all the way, I didn't know SMD was going to lead me to here. I didn't know that. I thought I was supposed to be helping everybody out of debt and free everybody. No, that was just part of it. That was the part for me to free myself. Then I can work on my personal self and my psyche, and then reach to this point. Oh, now I get it. I wasn't supposed to do that and stay there. There was a bigger plan. I didn't know about awakening and all that stuff. That wasn't part, when I first started, that wasn't part of my plan to awaken. That wasn't at all. So now, like tonight, I was told to get on the live and talk about something I ain't never talked about before, at least in this way. And what is this way? Just being it. You still got to break through all the social stuff. Oh, who do you think you are? You think you're no, none of that. Ain't got shit to do with that. None of that. The obvious. I now understand that God is the only thing that exists. There's nothing outside of him. Nothing exists outside of him except a delusion. If you think doing people wrong and scamming them and hurting people, you are in the delusion, obviously, because God is everything. It's so obvious now. Everybody has that little voice. Yours might be louder or smaller than everybody else's, but there's always that little voice in your mind that always says something to you just before you do something wrong, say something wrong to somebody, break the law. It's always that voice. Hey, if you ever want to see me or talk to me, you better start listening to me. That's what that voice really trying to say to you. I remember there's a few times in my life that I really thought, it's weird. You just don't, what else would it be? You know what I'm saying? It don't even make any sense. What else would it be if you're about to go do something wrong and something tells you not to do it, but you still do it anyway? It's obviously not you because you are the one going to do the bad thing. Oh my God, it's so obvious. It's like, oh, duh. Here's another thing that it's always the things that'll, and if this is you, I want you to, hopefully you can, there's usually things that stand out in your mind that you don't know why they stand out, and they've been in there for years. You don't know why. And mine was with another person. I remember I had met this one particular woman, and she was a beautiful woman, smart, had her stuff together, but I just wasn't connecting with her. I didn't know why. It was just not happening. No matter what we did, it was just not happening. Now I understand why. She was on a totally different frequency. When I think about myself, this is all I did. When I think about myself at that time, I was in a bad place with women. I didn't really like them. I was fresh out of a divorce. Uh, I didn't. I wasn't being dedicated to no woman because I just. Hey, listen. That's why. She obviously wasn't there. She was probably in a. Well, not obviously. I know because of what she did afterwards. After I told her the truth. But it's like this. I would, even though, and now I understand. There's two reasons. Now I understand why I was not connecting with her because I was totally on a different frequency than hers. And before I stopped seeing her, what I know is the higher self, who is me now. You're not doing any ghosting. You're not doing any messing around behind her back and doing all this. You're going to tell her. You're going to tell her that you're leaving, and you're going to tell her why. Because normally people just cut out. They just don't say anything. If it doesn't go right, they just vanish. No talking, no nothing. That's how you know that it was nothing. Because when you have a connection, you can't just do that kind of stuff. You can't just disappear from. So, because she's always respected me. Nothing was a problem. So I finally I got on the phone with her one day. I was so nervous, man. I was like, man, damn. And then when I told her, she cried. I said, this is why I just, I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. And I don't want to do that to her. And she cried to me. And on the phone, I felt bad. But I didn't realize at that time, by doing that, I earned her respect. I didn't know that at the time because of what she did afterwards. We still was cool. It was unbelievable. I was kind of shocked, but I was like, wow, she's not really, doing the things that people do. No, she wasn't even trying to get back with me and trying to do something to try to change my mind to get back with him. None of that. None of that. Now that moment, that time in my life that never made sense, now it does because I wasn't there. How do I know this? Because I knew myself. I know myself in my mind state at that time. I wasn't ready for no relationship. I was hurt in a bad place and stage with relationships. I wasn't trying to hear none of that at that time. That was the voice in my mind said, hey, listen, you don't ghost her. Don't stop getting her calls or nothing. You don't do none of that. You got to call her and you're going to tell her why. And that's exactly what I did. You know how nervous I was? I couldn't, man, everything. Now I understand why, because I listened to the inner self, my higher self. All those moments in my life just make sense now. Things that didn't make sense for years. I mean, for years I never understood. I'm like, damn, she is bad. Why am I not connected? Why am I not feeling her? Now I know. Knowing what I had to do to get here. Now she just has to be here. You understand? I don't. Yeah. Especially if a person that hasn't, if they haven't fixed in here, that you're a long ways away. I'm just here to tell you, you're a long ways away. If you're still hiding things, if you're pretending it doesn't exist and all that other stuff, who are you pretending from? Who are you pretending from? When I even think about that stuff, I can still feel it in my body, man. I really can, because my mom all my life, I know my mom all my life, and my sister all my life. I have a younger sister. We don't have a connection either, but we're 12 years apart. Never had. It's not that really doesn't affect me, but my sister right under me was her and I was the closest. So, but I thank God every day that. And this is the crazy part about it. Remember this. God gave us all the freedom of choice. So he doesn't actually make people do anything, because that would be taking away your gift. I mean, taking away his gift to you, right? If you just trust God against the narcissist will show you who they are. The people that do not belong in your life, they will show you who they are. I promise you. All you have to do is believe it. That means you got to fight through emotions, years of people putting that with. It's like when you say, like, you're going through something with your girlfriend, boyfriend, your family member, and you call one of your friends to talk to them about it. Usually, you got to stop and think: are you talking to a friend that messes around on their wife or husband, have a bad relationship with their parents? And you got to think about who you're asking advice from. Because if they're in it, so like you're a person, and you have a friend, and your friend messes around on their wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife, right? And then all of a sudden you start having problems in your relationship. Why would you call them and ask them? It doesn't even make sense. Most of you guys, I'm gonna put this to you right now, and this is how the devil works, man. Anything you fear losing, he's gonna use it. That right there. Let me tell you something. That right there rings so loud to me now. Oh man, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Anything you fear losing, he will use against you. I don't care what it is. You could fear losing your job. You could fear losing your girlfriend. You could fear losing your dog. You could fear, hey, listen, he's going to use it. It counts on the situation. Say like you're breaking up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, but you guys share a dog. Guess what he's going to use? The dog. You guys share the house. You guys put equal time and money into it, and you guys get a divorce. What is he going to use? The house. I swear to God, it wasn't until when I broke up with the girlfriend, when I broke up, a guy left my sister. It wasn't until I told God, "Hey, listen, I'll start over from the ground up. Whatever, just whatever." Then and only then did he get everything, fixed everything, got all my stuff back, everything. It wasn't until I released that fear, false evidence appearing real psychologically. That's what it is. Now, when people say, "Wait a minute, psychologically starts with a P," does it sound like it start with a P? Does it sound like it starts with a P, or it sounds like it starts with an S? What? You tell me. That was not easy. Still ain't. But that's how you let him enter your life. Because I remember being like, here, let me give you a physical example. I remember being with the narcissist ex-girlfriend. And anytime she got mad with me, she would only go after the stuff that I cared about, love, my laptop, my microphone, just certain clothes. She'd go after my truck keys, anything that I cared about and loved. Guess what I had to start doing? Hiding all of that stuff, so she wouldn't destroy it. Because why? She knew I needed it. A love, not even love. It's like a need. It's a crazy thing. That's how fears are used by the devil in your life. That's how you let him in. If you got a fear, that's like a doorway. Think about it. This is all you got to. This is all you got to do. This is what I want you to do, so you guys can understand energy. Okay, this is going to be totally made up. Totally made up. Now, I'm not even going to say what, but think about somebody that you love very, very, very close to them, and something bad happened to them. Whatever bad means to you is. Now, make it up in your mind and just think about it, okay? Now, feel your body. Feel it. Feel your body. You just made this story up. You just made it up. And feel your body respond. Your body doesn't know that you made up this story. Now, since you made up the story, turn it off. Turn it off right now. Say, oh, that story was made up. Just do it all in your mind. Your body's going to turn off. See all the energy just turn right off? Just turn right off. It's the same thing. That's how it happens. You have control over it. I just showed you. You make up a story. Think about something bad, somebody close to you. Watch your body respond, and then after you're tired of feeling like that, turn it off and say, "Hey, I just made up the story. It's not true," and then it'll just turn off. You see how obvious that is? Everything is just obvious. So if you think of a fake fear that maybe somebody outside of you caused you or whatever, man, you just gotta and then you respond, "Hey, listen, nope." Mm-mm. Especially the stuff that's not even true. When your mind just makes up stuff, what could happen, what they would do, this and that, all of that is made up. You just got to remember that none of it exists. But remember, if you're doing it and you're following it, your body is being affected by it because you're just allowing it. You have Once you escape, you have no idea how many people every single day throw their fears at you, just throw them at you. They're just constantly throwing their fears at their most of the people are talking about themselves. Like now, when I see this, I'm gonna tell you something that people don't even talk about, okay? Which is obvious to me today. You'll see the homeless population getting big, like homeless are different species or something. You see how we say the homeless, like they're not people. What that does is when people drive by in their cars in downtown or they see, that's a fear in their mind saying, I hope that never happens to me. That's not verbalized. People every day have that fear in their mind. They know it. They know they're one job loss away from probably happening. Those are all fears, false evidence. If you just don't focus on that and focus on what you need to do, you will know that'll never happen to you. Just focus on yourself. Don't worry about that. Even though homelessness is bad and that you don't know how they got there. You don't think everybody out there is because of drugs. Don't think that. Those people got college educations. They probably once had homes and drive nice cars. And don't let the news fool you. Don't do that. Now, I don't judge nobody. I don't judge anybody. With social media, that's very difficult because that's like a program in your brain. But today, I don't know anything about another person. I don't know how they grew up, what their childhood was like, mom, dad, nothing. I don't know anything. God places different people for different areas for what? I'm not questioning anything. Let me see who all is up in here. Scrolling to the top. Wow, a lot of you guys can't showed up. And what's that down south? Yella, Ryan, Zariah, how you doing? Cynthia, Tina Marie, hello, welcome. Yep, the more you know, the more you're responsible for. Yeah, not really responsible. You're not really responsible for anyone. You're. I'm just looking for the people that are wandering around knowing something's wrong, something that, yeah, I can so relate. That journey walking through it was extremely difficult, but when we rise above it, you then see growth from the inside out. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I don't know anything about that, Ryan. I have no idea. Yep. Zariah, you've been knowing your higher self for many, many years. Many people do that. I just gave a prime example that the higher self talks to a lot of people right now. Anytime you do something bad or bad to, I don't care what it is, and you feel something, say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do it. That's your higher self telling you something. Believe that. Most definitely believe in God for sure. You can call on God. I'm Native American, so I called him source. And that's what I do too, Tina. I call him source, creator. It's all the same to me. I use source a lot, but also use God. I use God more here because people don't use the word source that much. So, yep. As long as it pops up summer. Uh, Ryan says, do you know that if the level of creativity was a bit higher, we couldn't live on Earth? I don't know that. Mm-mm. What's up, Amazing? Thank you, Tina. Much appreciated. I would love to talk to this man in person. He has a lot of experience and knowledge to share. I can be reached at savingsminusdebt@gmail.com. You can send me an email. You guys right here, right now, enjoying this live right here. You guys are one of the first to actually see me talking the way I'm talking right now today. I just feel like it's the right time to do it. Uh, make sure it's not really. It's just like facts, I'm able to just spit out the facts of everything to you, and you guys can do these things yourself. So I'm not just making it up. It's just like the feeling of energy. All you have to do is think about something bad happened to a close one, and watch your body respond to something that you just made up. You just made it up. Don't think, oh, that might be. This is an experiment. Don't think you're gonna wish anything bad. You don't control none of that. This is strictly for you, just to see your body respond. And then when you're done with the fake story, just turn it off. Just say, okay, body, that was fake, and then watch it go away. When you see how quickly you did that, once you reach here, you'll be able to do that with anything. That's me today. That's giving you an example of how I live my life today. I control all that. I don't let I don't let anybody into this piece, this perspective of my world, because I had to earn to get here. It's easy for me to see the people that clearly are not here, clearly didn't earn to get here, nothing. It's not very difficult to see. You don't even have to be mean because they will get nowhere close. You understand? People that are people that are not living right, which mean that they're clearly not living for God. I mean, you can see it. It's not really hard. And when I say live for God, all you got to do is ask yourself, whatever you're doing, do you think God would do it? If the answer is no, then the answer is no. I'm not going to church. I don't follow any religion. I don't do any of that. None of that. I'm awake. I know God is everything, period. If you don't believe it, you just don't believe it, I guess. That doesn't really mean anything to me. We're all individual expressions of Him, period. It's pretty obvious. I mean, look at this: fingers, eyeballs. Look at that. Nothing. No strings, nothing. Put up one finger, two fingers, three fingers. Yeah. I don't even have to say it. How am I doing that? Who made that? It's exhausting though, man. I ain't gonna lie. when your brain is highly active, for this to be the, I mean, if you think about it, we cannot function without the brain. You can't. You just don't exist. You can go with one arm, one leg, one kidney. You can't go with one. You can't. Once you realize that and you accept, I mean, you really, really think about that. Uh, my brain goes into like overdrive. I guarantee you, if they put my brain on like a CAT scan or something, they probably will never have seen a, or very rare seen a, whatever they look for in that. Because I don't even know what they look for, but I guarantee it would be different. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. It's like when my brain is very highly active, my body is like drained. You understand? Just like it like sucks all the extra anything. And only when I'm doing something, or I have to do something, or there's something that's very, like removing my sister and my mom took a lot of energy out of me. And I thank God I had people in my corner to assist me big time. Yeah. And that's what, that automatically happens when you work on yourself and you are a person that treat others right, and just in a way that you don't even believe exists anymore. That person, you have no idea what this connection that you're making with that person is going to, is like. Here, let me give an example of myself. I met a coworker in 2009. Okay. And I was in the computer IT field, and I met a coworker, and him and I connected immediately. We were just so tight, and we're still best friends today. Closest friend I have in my life today. Sure is. Him and his wife. All from a connection that was made in 2009 of mutual respect, a love, or just, it was just, and now in 2025, well, really in 2023, I figured out why we were, because he was there for me when these things happened to me, when these people were needed to be removed out of my life. I needed some help. And he was there for me. But God already knew that. That's why you can't really, when he tells you to do certain things and it doesn't make any sense, but it still feels right to do it, you just do it. Don't question it. You don't need to know why this needs to be done. You don't need to know why you're talking to this person, and why you listen to whatever. Like when he's helping you, say like he's helping you and he puts you somewhere, get you out of a situation and puts you somewhere else to get you out of a situation. But when you go to this other place, you can't think it's all about you. You might be meeting somebody, maybe you're going to help somebody during your journey. It all connects. It's going to be, if you want change, it's going to be uncomfortable, because it's going to remove your old perspective and change into your new perspective. The shit is scary too, man. It'll be scary. Don't get me wrong. I've done some things that I remember when I first quit back in 2016. I quit a 6-figure job with no answers, no guarantees of nothing. No guarantees of nothing. 6 figures. 6 figures that everybody dreams of reaching. 6 figures. Man, if I just get to 6 figures, it's not like that. Don't think it's like that. and I quit my job, people looked at me like I was fucking crazy. Oh my God, are you what are you going to do, LJ? I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. Now, at that moment, I realized everybody that was talking to me, calling me crazy, and oh my God, they were just spitting their fears out on me. They were all telling me why they wouldn't do it. If you let that come in, if you're a person right now that's trying to get out and uh, start your own business, do your own thing, I'm telling you, if you tell your dream, this shit makes so much sense now. If you tell your dreams to a person full of fear, they're gonna spit their fears out on you, and you're gonna suck it in consciously or unconsciously, man, and it's gonna just throw you all the way off. Oh man. Some do it, some do it on purpose, some do it most of the people do it unconsciously, but a lot of people, man, they just do it. It's automatic. Only 2 out of 5 businesses survive. And hey, listen, I guess I'm gonna be part of the 2. Because let me tell you something. Once you escape that, man, there is no going back. No going back. Mm. But those people in their fears, man, you got to be careful. If you're a person and you got a job, and every time there's lunchtime or somewhere in the community area, you get there and somebody's talking negative about the manager or what's happening at themselves or the boyfriend or the girlfriend problem, man, you got to stay away from those people. Because one thing you're going to realize is that people lie for no reason. This is what happens when your eyes open. Okay? You're going to realize that people that just lie for absolutely no reason at all. Now, if you get to work and you hear a story from a liar, but they're your friend, guess what you're going to automatically do? You're going to believe them because they're your friend. They've done nothing wrong to you. That yada yada. But all you got to do is look at the obvious. This is the beautiful thing about waking up. If you're with somebody, your friend, boyfriend, girl, brother, sister, if they're talking to other people, if they're telling you about everybody else's business, they're talking about your business too, because you're the only one that believes you're special. Like, think about it. If you're a person that doesn't do that, you're a person that doesn't do that. Period. There's no sharing of hey man, let me tell you about no. If you're with if somebody like that in your life, you better stop. You better remove them because they're telling your stuff too. Yeah, something strong tonight for sure. Awakening is beautiful though. I ain't gonna lie, it's beautiful. It's new. I wouldn't say scary because it's beautiful to be able to see, to be in the exact same world, to be in the exact same world but a totally different perspective. You can see the whole, just the way people act and what they say and talk. All you got to do is just listen. You can tell the people that have money that really don't have money. You can tell which ones are just straight up just lying. if you're a person who's awakened, you won't. I'd say 99% of your dating problems will be eliminated because you will know right away of who not to date by just the way they talk, the way they think about life, just. And as a man, let me tell you something. As an awakened man, this is you're not controlled by sex anymore. It's not like that. Now, I'm not saying that you wouldn't enjoy it anymore or something like that. No, it's not like that. It doesn't control me. It's not like that. It's so that makes the world very, very different, but it also allows me to see how powerful it is because of you see what people do for it. Lie, cheat, steal, sell. It's just wow. It's like, think about it, and I want you to, let's talk to a man that is cheating on his wife right now and she doesn't know. Okay, I'm talking to you. This is the wonderful thing about the psychological part, and this is beautiful. When you awaken, this will be your gift too. I'm talking to the guys that are cheating on their wives right now and they don't know it. This is the beautiful part. They have to listen to me because they're doing it. You understand? So if they hear me say that, they have to focus in on me because they're the ones doing it. They can't say, no, I'm not doing it. They have to say, I'm doing it. You're in a perspective of the world where you only attract women that would mess with a married man. That's you guys' frequency. That's your frequency. That's why you guys connect. Because, hey, are you married? Yeah, but I mess around. Okay, cool. And then you get with a woman that accepts that. That's why you guys connect, because she accepts that. So if there's a woman that, so like there's a woman that fools around on her husband, and she sees me, and she's like, hey, starts doing whatever, right? Talking to me. First question I'm gonna ask, are you with somebody? And if she mentions she's married, that's where it ends. There's nothing's going past that parking lot or at the store or something. Nothing. Yeah, I'm married, but I'm separate. I don't need to know all that. I don't need to know none of that. Mm-mm. I don't need to know why you still remain legally tied to somebody you're not with. That's none of my business. The energy doesn't connect because of the energy that I create. Listen, it doesn't matter what she looks like. It doesn't matter how bad her body is. As soon as she says I'm with somebody and I'm married, that's in. That's it. Usually, you like to say that because they'll tell on themselves like liars. Say like you're with somebody and they say, no, I'm not with nobody. And then later on you find out they are. That's it. They just showed me that they're liars. It doesn't change. None of that changes. This is why your dating problem, it's just not really difficult to weave out the people that are just not for you. Definitely not for me. You got to be, yeah. I feel like these are the videos that I'm going to be making more of, obviously. This is all new to me, honestly. This version of me is very new to me, talking about it like this. Uh, yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. Much appreciated. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. Much appreciated. Hit the like button. Um, I'm gonna make this video public. I got to reach 1,000 people in here. That's why it doesn't go live publicly. It still goes live only in private setting. Then I got to go unlock it later. So or make it public, excuse me. But thank you for joining. You can reach me at savings-debt@gmail.com, savings-debt@gmail.com. All right. You guys have a good night.